Hello friends, my name is Steve Guttenberg and I am the Audiophiliac, and today's show is a list, a speaker list, a very concise list of affordable speakers. We'll call affordable. The prices are between $4.99 a pair and $1,500 a pair. And they're here because I'm really excited about them. The speakers that I get in, or even products that I get in that I'm not all that thrilled about, I can't find enough reason to tell you about them. I think, why tell you? So the ones that show up have a lot going for them. There's a lot of filtering going on, let's put it that way. Oh, and by the way, speaking of great, there will be an Audiophiliac viewer system of the day later on in today's show. And speaking of coming attractions, how can I put this? I have some big speakers in for review. They weigh over 100 pounds. They were hand delivered to me, which is one of the reasons I said yes. And I'm really glad I did because they are very, very special, from a very famous speaker company, made in England. That's what they are. They're actually made in England. The company's not just based there, but they actually make their speakers in England. And I'm really excited about those. So those will show up here on the channel pretty soon. I have a tube amplifier in for review, and I like it a lot. I like this thing a lot. It just surprises me. It keeps surprising me. That's what makes it great, is every time I turn it on, play different recordings, LPs or CDs or streaming, this little tube amp gets me going. That's what makes it a big deal. Oh, and I have a chunky integrated amp from a very famous manufacturer. I want to keep you guessing. That's also in a review. I haven't opened the box. I don't know anything about it except the brand and more or less the price. So that's going to be a while. But the amp review and the big tower thing, that's going to come up here on the channel in a couple of weeks. But as for the affordable stuff, I'm going to start with the most affordable, which is the LSA Signature 50 two-way stand mount speaker. Matter of fact, they're all two-way stand mount speakers. Well, except for one, and that one is a subwoofer. But anyway, as for this speaker, the LSA 50 Signature, wow. Very, very impressive. First of all, it looks great for 500 bucks. Matter of fact, it reminds me a lot of Sonus Faber's earliest speakers. Well, at least earliest for me, the Electa Amateur. So gorgeous construction for a $499 pair speaker, 6.5-inch woofer, soft dome tweeter. But the sound is big and powerful, and this thing goes down deep. It's not just flabby bass, it's got solid bass down to 40 hertz. It's easy to drive. It's an 8-ohm speaker, although the sensitivity is not super low, but it's pretty good. It's easy to drive and sounds terrific. I am very, very excited about that speaker. Now, the next one up on the list is one that I was going to say we all know. Well, we all know about the original, or most of us know about the original, the Klipsch RP600M. And I recently reviewed the Mark II version, which has a much bigger horn. It's a more refined sounding speaker. It's a very exciting speaker. It's very efficient. You can use it with very low powered amplifiers, as low as 2 watts, like with the Deckware. But it just has life. It sounds like live music, meaning music coming through a PA system, right? Because most PA systems, or a lot of PA systems, use horn speakers. That live sound is something I certainly associate with horn speaker sound. Not 100% of the time, but a lot of the time. Anyway, it's a terrific speaker. I love the company. The Klipsch Cornwalls, its much, much bigger brother, are reference speakers around here. But that's not part of this list, right? Because they are a lot more than $1,500 a pair. But the next speaker on the list is the Magnepan LRS Plus. Now, the original LRS, that is about 4 years old, I think. I love that speaker. It is a planar magnetic speaker, meaning it doesn't have a dome tweeter, it doesn't have a cone mid-range or cone woofer. It is a flat panel Mylar diaphragm speaker with lots of magnets and a ribbon that's basically put on top of that Mylar sheet. It's very hard to describe how it works, but anyway, it's completely different than a box speaker. It's only 1.25 inches thick, but on its stand, which is an extra, the price, by the way, is $995 a pair. It is made in the USA. The LSA and the Klipsch speakers are made in China. But this one, the Magnapan, it is made in the USA. Jana made a video, Jana Dedegan made a video for John Dorkin about building the original LRS, and it's quite something, and I will link to that below. But anyway, the LRS Plus is a more higher resolving speaker than the original, and the original was no slouch, but talk about see-through transparency, a very pure, very, very low distortion sound. So here's the thing. It is a 4 ohm speaker. It's a low impedance speaker. It is a very insensitive speaker. It takes a lot of juice to make the LRS Plus wake up and just dance for you. So you can't use it really with a $500 amp or something. It's probably not going to work out too well. So you need an amp that delivers current, meaning has a 4 ohm power rating, at least 50 watts. 100 watts or more would be even better. I can't stress that enough. I'm trying right now to tell you the LRS Plus, while it's a mere $995 a pair, you're probably going to have to spend $1,500 more on an amplifier to make it go. Now, the next speaker has been around longer than the others, and that is the KEF LS50 Meta, which is $1,500 a pair. I love that speaker. Matter of fact, I was listening to it just recently for this amp review of the little tube amplifier. And even with this tube amp, the KEF was so good. It just opens up. The imaging is fantastic, but it's more than just a one-trick pony. It has soul. The mid-range is fantastic. It goes down surprisingly low, although I wouldn't say if you're into music with lots of bass, that this would be the best choice for $1,500. But in terms of bass extension when properly placed, meaning out into the room by at least, let's say, 18 inches, I would say it would be a good place to be. The LS50 Meta is just a remarkable achievement. 5-year warranty. It is made in China, but it is designed in the UK, and I think it's freaking gorgeous. I love the look. The look, this speaker around, the original LS50 came out, I think, in 2012. Is that true? I think so, yeah. So it still seems completely iconic. There's nothing else that looks like an LS50. It looked very modern then, and it still looks very contemporary now. So that's impressive. Now the next speaker isn't a speaker, it's a subwoofer. It is the REL T0. It's a sealed box 6.5-inch sub. And it actually works incredibly well with the Magnapan that I just referred to recently, the LRS Plus. It works well with electrostatic speakers. It's very quick, it's very nimble. It's not what I would call the most bass-endowed subwoofer. I know that sounds kind of weird, but it's not about feeling, pumping bass. But in terms of extending the bass lower for a speaker like a Magnapan or the Klipsch, or the LSA 50, it's very, very satisfying. And also, you don't use it in a giant room. It's a little tiny sub. I think its biggest dimension is 10 inches. It's a baby subwoofer, and you don't need to hook it up to a subwoofer out on a preamp or a receiver. You can hook it up directly to the speaker outputs of pretty much, well, any Class AB amplifier. It's getting a little dodgy there as to how you hook it up. But anyway, you got to watch the review to learn more about that. But it's terrific because it's so fast. It's not, like I say, it's not about pumping out thumping bass. It's about extending the bass of the speakers like Magnapans or pretty much any small speaker. It does an amazing job doing that. And the price, I think I didn't mention it, is $499. The next two speakers are active speakers, meaning they have built-in power amplifiers. They're both bi-amplified speakers. And they're both really designed for the pro market, but can be bought and certainly enjoyed by audiophiles and non-audiophiles, by consumers. Now the first one is the Focal Alpha 65 Evo. It has a 6.5-inch slate woofer. The tweeter's unusual. It's a dome tweeter, but instead of bulging out, it goes in. It's a concave dome tweeter. It's an aluminum tweeter. I forget what the power ratings are, but this is a fairly large speaker. It's $920 a pair. I think it's kind of cool looking with those sculptured sides, which are made out of plastic, by the way, but nice plastic. But the rest of the cabinet is MDF. And Focal has made a lot of progress in the pro market. They're a big deal there. They're known by audiophiles, certainly, but in the pro market, yeah, Focal is a serious contender. Now, the next one is very, very special. The next one is the Genelec G3. It's $1,500 a pair. It is designed and made in Finland. And Genelec is a very, very, very pro-oriented company that does sell their speakers to consumers, like this one. Well, actually, they'll sell any of their speakers to consumers as far as I know. But anyway, this one is really tiny. But when you look at it, you go, this is not a, quote, normal speaker. The cabinet is not MDF or plastic or anything. It is cast aluminum. And the whole shape of the cabinet is designed for minimal diffraction and acoustics. It's beautifully done. Now, the ones that I had for review, which I no longer have, by the way, are finished in what they call raw aluminum, meaning unfinished aluminum. It's just that. It looks very, very cool, very steampunk, you might say. That's what I got, and that's what I think is really, really neat looking. It's pretty tiny. The woofer, by the way, is 5.1 inches. Tweeter is a 0.75-inch dome. Now, the amplification that's inside the box, which is all analog, by the way, there's no DSP used inside the G3, is designed and made by Genelec. They don't outsource the electronics, which is very, very unusual. It's a whole line of Gs, G1, G2, G3, G4, G5. This is the middle one. I did the Goldilocks approach, and I picked the middle one. I'm probably going to get one of the bigger ones later on. So it has a very purposeful look, and it sits on this cradle of like rubber feet. So basically it has a built-in isolation stand that comes with the speaker that you can fire the speaker straight ahead, angle it up, angle it down. It's very versatile, very well thought out, but wall brackets are also available, and I'm pretty sure floor stands are available too. But I heard it just played on regular stands, and I was very, very impressed with this speaker. It is very, very clean. I was going to say analytical. That sounds negative, but it is it's a pro speaker, and it lets you hear the good, the bad, and the ugly in your recordings. And sometimes that could be one of those too much information stories. But I didn't find that with this speaker. I just enjoyed the speaker. I enjoyed the precision of the sound. It's a very exacting sound. Just phenomenal. And considering its very small size, the bass extends down to, I think, 47 hertz minus 6 dB, which is pretty darn deep. And by the way, there are tone controls, well, dip switches on the back that let you adjust the tonal balance of the speaker. It's pretty common in pro speakers, and certainly they are there, and it has an RCA input, so there you go. But it does not have a volume control, meaning, or neither speaker has volume controls, meaning your source, your preamp or a DAC, has to have a volume control of its own. That's how you'll control the level. But other than that, it's a terrific little speaker. I really miss it. I'm probably going to ask to get one back because I thoroughly enjoy the sound of that speaker, which surprised me because I'm not generally drawn to the pro audio sound. But that speaker is really, really special. Each of these speakers was chosen for a reason, as I said earlier. I'm really jazzed about all of them, meaning I don't think you can go wrong if they fit your room, your tastes, etc., etc. I think they're all very exceptional designs. And, to use a word I don't always use, value. Speaking of value, it is now time for the AUDIOPHILIAC viewer system of the day. Hey, this is interesting. This one comes from Trung. He's 42 years old and lives in Los Angeles. Now, he built these DIY speakers. Those are the speakers in the pictures labeled TTN for his initials. But you'll also see in the same pictures definitive technology speakers and a subwoofer for the home theater system. But that's not part of the system he's discussing in these images. Now, for the rest of the system, he has an Apt Holman preamp, an Adcom GFA 5552 power amp, designed by Nelson Pass. There's an SA CD player by Marantz. It's an SA 8003, and the turntable is a VPI Scoutmaster with a Denon DL103 cartridge and a Denon AU305 transformer. So the speaker system itself is 4 pieces. There's 2 bass enclosures, each one with a side-firing 6.5-inch woofer. The separate speaker, the, let's say, satellite, has a 4-inch mid-range and a 1-inch dome tweeter. And then the crossovers are externally mounted in separate boxes for ease of modifying, which he did. Over the years, he's tweaked the crossovers to achieve a flatter frequency response and tame the bass for the corner loading placement that you see here. Trung describes the sound as full-bodied and warm. He listens loud, but not so loud. But anyway, he hasn't suffered from ear fatigue when listening for many hours at a time. It's been 25 years since he built the speakers, and he thinks he'll be enjoying them for many more years. Way to go, Trung. All right, we are back. Again, my name is Steve Guttenberg, and I am the Audiophiliac. If you like what I'm doing here on the channel, please consider subscribing and joining my Patreon. This has been going on a while now. The channel is almost 5 years old, and my Patreon base is about 4 years old. I've had people that have been with me since the very beginning, which is incredible. You can join for a couple dollars a month, up to $50 a month. If you join at the top rate, you and I will have a conversation at the beginning of every month, and the conversations are about 15 minutes long, anywhere in the world. And speaking of that, Patreon accepts payment in dollars, pounds, and euros. And if you don't want to join the Patreon, I understand, but I'd appreciate if you give likes to the videos that you do like, and also subscribe to the channel if you have yet to do so. There's 216,000 people all over the world watching these videos. I'd like you to join the group. Please do. And with that, I can say, yes, with that I can say, my work here is at last complete. Thank you so much for watching. And I really, really do hope you come back soon, very, very soon. Bye-bye.